welcome to this very special edition of QuickBooks Labs. And in this episode, we're actually on site. We're here at one of the roadshows, aren't we? This is the roadshow number 2 out of 5, and we're here in Reading. So we're going to use this opportunity to talk about how amazing Glasgow was, what we think so far of Reading, and what we feel is going to happen the rest of the tour. So, Charlie, first of all, you can go first. What's your overall reactions? Me and Johan's a bit. We've already seen Glasgow, right? We were tainted by its greatness, or lack of. We'll come to that. But what do you think so far? What's your first impressions? Go.
Well, Reading is not as glamorous as Glasgow. So, not that I've ever been to Glasgow, but I've seen pictures. So it doesn't have that glamour stuck on the M4. But it's been a great morning. It's great, some great sessions. Johan did a fantastic session this morning, talking about all sorts of ways that accounts can. Yeah. Thanks very much, Johan. So no, it's been very good. We've got some great third-party tools that are here: Apron, Dex, is it PayPal? Yeah, PayPal. And it's been really good, and a whole load of breakout sessions going on right now. So it's very, very good day. So I would say to anybody else who's not yet booked to come on these Get Connected things, there's three more to go. Sign up for them. Come along to them. They are very, very valuable.
Yeah, they are so important. Like, that whole audience this morning got to see Payroll Bureau, Practice Management, AI, Intuit Assist. That is the future. I'm so excited about the AI tool. The sooner it gets here, the better, because I want to start playing with it. I want to see what benefits this is going to bring to us as a whole. But then there was already AI in the products, as we saw. Like, we're talking about VAT returns and self-assessment tax returns. Like, it's there. So, yeah. It's been a great morning. I've really enjoyed it. Glasgow was good, wet, miserable, but good. But that was Glasgow. It's always raining. So yeah, what did you think, Aaron, today compared to Glasgow?
I mean, the room is got a lot of energy in here, and I like that.
You and I always say, Aaron, the QuickBooks roadshows are so much better than their competitors because they implement the thought leadership alongside the selling of QuickBooks, whereas their competitors just go sell. We go for the thought leadership with QuickBooks, and this audience seemed open to thought leadership, which the audience at Glasgow didn't. They were more interested in the functionality of the product.
Exactly right. And you could tell that because it was more of a question of, have you used so-and-so before? Have you used it? Where here, you were having a conversation today about, outsourcing and finance. That's not the typical conversation, but it's great to see that people are using these events, not just for QuickBooks, not just for the latest and greatest of what they're coming out, but actually finding meaningful ways in which they can help the practice, right?
Very much so. I mean, the conversations I was having with some accountants this morning are the kind of conversations that years ago I would have been having at meetings at the ICAW, for example. So it was accountants wanting to learn how to grow their practice, how to build their practice. Part of that is what tools to use, what software tools, what other tools to use, but also what's the best way you interact with your team? How do you build a team? Do you build it locally? Do you build it using outsourcing? Do you have a combination? Do you have client managers? Do you have how do you have people who are dedicated to certain tasks like payroll and accounts production and bookkeeping, or do you have people who just do the entire process, vertical process for individual clients? All those kinds of conversations are had here because this, as you said, this is for people who are wanting to grow their practices and are looking for the best ways to do that.
And they're looking for the ways that QuickBooks can power their and their clients' prosperity. Nice little tag in there to the QuickBooks messaging line. But yeah, and I think we have to take our hats off to QuickBooks for facilitating events like this. These things aren't done cheaply, but they are so valuable. And I just wish they were. I mean, this is a well-attended event today. I reckon we've got 100 plus people in the room. I just wish that we had 200 plus, because if we're having good conversations now, imagine what conversations could be had if there was twice the number of people in here, and imagine the impact that will have across all of those firms compared to just these firms in the future. Hats off to QuickBooks for facilitating.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. So what have they facilitated? Well, first of all, there was a jam-packed day, as Johan and Charlie's already mentioned about. We had speakers, we had thought leaders, we've got all sorts of it. And what there is every one of those breakout sessions, you have a choice. Do you go to a thought leader that's going to be talking about how your practice can be better in X, Y, Z? Or do you want to learn about something to do with QuickBooks? Is it one of their new innovations, whatever it's going to be? And I feel like that was a perfect blend, wasn't it?
It's a very good ratio and blend of thought leadership versus technicalities of QuickBooks across every breakout session. So you could really tailor your day to what you want to do. So yeah, very, very well.
I mean, right now, for example, there's breakout session. I think there's Rachel Martin talking about her practice StriveX, which is a incredibly successful practice that she and her husband James have built. There's a session on there's a QuickBooks session going on right now. I can't remember exactly which set. It might be on the new payroll bureau that's coming out, or possibly that's in a session later today. And yeah, it's these are very, very, very packed mornings. Definitely learn a lot from them.
So what do you guys feel benefits and pluses compared to the main Get Connected one in March? What would you, if you had to look at this one as, if someone only had the choice to go to one event, which one would you recommend?
So the big event in London is all about showboating, isn't it? It's showing off, this is all the latest tools, let's get big check. It's like an Apple event. Like, it's the Apple event where we released the iPhone. But I think there's just as much value, if not more value, in these little roadshows, because everyone's not having to travel to London. It's more local, and the sessions are equally as well done. The insights, etc. are yes, all right. They're not announcing the latest new tools here. They are reminding you of was announced earlier this year, and they're updating you on what was put out earlier this year as this is what's coming. But I still think the breakout sessions are equally valuable.
Yeah, I mean, I broadly agree with what you say. I mean, I think the breakout sessions are very good. Again, there aren't as many people, and when you divide it out amongst 3 breakout sessions, it's not as many people as you're going to have at a major event in London. But I
Opportunity to ask questions.
that's very true. Yes, you do get more opportunity to ask questions. And in a room of, what is it, 100 and something odd people here in the main sessions, you get the chance to to talk to people you want to talk to in the room as well as the people doing the breakout sessions. I mean, I'm kind of lucky, a bit biased, because I'm based in London. When events are happening in London, it's like, oh, well, that's easy for me to go to and I can see everybody. But actually here, I mean, as I said earlier, we've got 3 third-party tools that work with QuickBooks here as well. So it's great to have the opportunity. They're not as busy as they would be if they were presenting at QuickBooks Connect. So you have the opportunity to really talk to them and find out more about the software. Even get a brief demo and get some free coffee beans from Apron as well.
I think for me, the benefit we have for these local ones is we get to talk about issues in this area. Like, I was talking to a guy just before we went up about healthcare, and I would never come across a conversation about healthcare anywhere else. But because here there's a big office that's dealing with just healthcare and I have a history in it, I was able to have that conversation and go through that. I'd never have that opportunity in the big London ones. We'd just be overwhelmed with the whole event itself. Right? We said we loved the event, but it just went in a flash, didn't it? This one, we have an opportunity to actually talk to people and
Quality conversations.
exactly. It comes from there.
We got time to stop and smell the coffee.
All of it. What, the Apron coffee, by any chance?
Yes, the Apron coffee.
The Apron coffee. Yeah. It's just out there, isn't it? As one of the best swags.
I will just say it is the best new tool I've seen, not only all year, but for at least 2 or 3 years.
It says a lot from you, Charlie, because it takes a while for you to be impressed in something.
Does it?
Because you are very rigorous in your...
Rigorous. You are absolutely...
slow. I think you're very thorough, and you do test everything to its limit to make sure that it's going to be right for you and your clients, and there's nothing wrong with that, because you don't look at it and go, that sounds all right, I'll look at it later. You do start looking and testing it straight away. Your testing phase is just longer than mine, for example, and that's got its pros and cons. But for you to turn around and say Apron's one of the best tools you've seen in years, that in itself, they should get that certified and on their wall. Because how many softwares have tried to impress you in the last 3 or 4 years and got nowhere close to that certification in such a short period of time?
No, very much so, and they most definitely have. And I think what's coming out from them in the new year is going to blow all our minds.
And it's not just stronger coffee.
Although they probably will know then. So for me, let's just go through the main event at the beginning, the starting point, everyone getting excited about it. They started the session off talking about Intuit AI, which we are definitely, Intuit Assist, which we're super excited about. We think that's going to blow. And they put such emphasis on it as well. 1,000 data scientists, engineers, and analysts in basically in the whole of Intuit. 700 patents as well. When you start looking at those sort of numbers, it's clear to say they're taking this seriously, right?
The people that normally put that kind of number of patents in for something that's for technology, where it's focused on kind of one area, like AI, those people are Google, Microsoft, Apple. They're the kind of people that are going patent, patent, patent. A lot of it will never go anywhere. It will never be developed, but they know it's important, they're protecting it. So to see Intuit behaving like one of those big boys, that's a sign of good things to come. They are completely invested in this when their competitors have made very little rumour of AI.
Yes.
Very little mention of AI. I think the one in blue wants to use AI to help you categorise bank transactions more accurately. It's like, cool, out of the box thinking, well done guys. But
Is that the one that doesn't even have a bank reconciliation?
yeah, that'd be the one.
That'd be the one. Yeah.
Yeah, so it don't really matter anyway. But those statistics, that's an investment. Like, that's a real investment financially, resource-wise. That tells you how big they think this is going to be.
And AI is like it's going to transform almost every industry. I mean, in terms of thinking what AI can and can't do. Less than a year ago, I thought, well, at least I work with a lot of creatives, and I thought, well, at least creatives are protected. AI is not going to impact them. If you're a musician or an actor, you won't. No, I was completely wrong on that. I mean, they've just been going on strike in Hollywood. Exactly, because of AI for actors, I work with a lot with musicians, and there's AI producing music. Look, it's not very good, but it's impacting everybody. Our profession is absolutely going to be transformed by AI, and any accountant needs to be keeping up to date with where it's going to go. And as somebody sitting to my left may have said on a panel this morning, it's not going to replace us, but it will transform the way that we do our work. It will utterly transform the way that we do our work. And if we aren't keeping up to date, and if we aren't following the trends and using tools like QuickBooks to help us use the AI in the most productive way, to make us more productive, to make us provide more valuable advice to our clients. So instead of just being data entry clerks, which is what a lot of, I've been an accountant for a very long time, a lot of our work is getting the data in. Most of that will be automated. Our work will be transformed. We will be much, much more advisory, and AI will help us to do that, and we will become much more profitable because of it.
And because of the figures we've seen today, 1,000 data scientists, 700 plus patents, there's obviously a huge financial commitment. We all flirt with other accounting software packages, not flirt, but tolerate. Do you feel more confident that QuickBooks is aware of what the future is here and they're on it compared to their competitors? And do you think that's going to give them, do you think their competitors need to actually look and go, we need to catch up here?
Well, without a doubt, when you see those numbers, that's confidence building, right? I also love the fact that they're acutely aware that AI has already been in the product for a long time. When you look at the VAT error checker, when you look at the ITR checker, those sort of things, they are primitive forms of AI, but they're still AI, right? So they're acutely aware that's there. They're also acutely aware, and this is one of my favourite statements that Nick Williams said, was that AI is only as good as the data we've got in there. And at the moment, there's a lot of rubbish data. That's got to be the first priority. Let's clean up the data first and move from there. And I think the other big strength is, yes, we're maybe critical at the moment of their ecosystem in terms of everything that QuickBooks have to offer, of all the different elements of it. But the fact they have an ecosystem means that they're going to be able to leverage that AI far more effectively than anything else on the product, on the market, because they've got MailChimp and they've got practice management ideas. They've got an accounts production solution. They've got that whole suite of information there available for AI to just go and do the magic that's available to.
I would echo that, but I think that the core part, and yes, the ecosystem is big and it will cover everything, and it's important that they do all of that. But for me, the reason why I use QuickBooks in my practice is that the heart of all of this is the bookkeeping, and QuickBooks does that brilliantly. We talked a moment ago about one of its major competitors not even having a bank reconciliation process. The AI coming around, that's coming in the next few months, next few years, that will automate more of the bank entry information, the purchase invoice information, and
The Train QB.
yes, exactly. All of that, QuickBooks has always done brilliantly, absolutely brilliantly. For me, it's the best in the market for that. And that background and the fact that they have spent so much time and have so many people working on AI is just going to make it, in my opinion, the best product in the marketplace. And that core functionality informs all the rest of the ecosystem. If you haven't got the basics right, you can have all the AI in the world, and it's pointless. Rubbish in, rubbish out. As long as you've got good data in, then the AI will be incredibly valuable. And you need the heart. You need a really good system that takes the data and processes it accurately and fast. Because the other thing with AI, of course, is that if you are able to keep your books bang up to date in real time, every day it's automatically processing the bank transactions that have come in and all the rest of it, you can provide really, really useful insights that impact your clients' businesses tomorrow. It's not, well, we've looked back at the last 6 months worth of, or the last quarter's worth of transactions and we think X, Y, Z. No, I've just noticed that yesterday this happened. You need to think about that. I know you're placing a big stock order at the end of next week, but I've just noticed the software has just told me that yesterday that £50,000 that was meant to have been paid to you by that client wasn't paid. We need to chase them up because otherwise you won't have the cash to pay to buy that stock order next week.
So important.
So announcements that were made. I don't know if you guys noticed this one, but Nick made a sly little announcement today that was different from yesterday. So Johan's got a better chance of. Did you catch it?
Which one?
Okay. So there's now a new name to one of our products.
Oh, Tax Pro. Pro Tax. Marketing have been playing around with this one for the last year at QuickBooks. It was Books to Tax, yeah. It's now Pro Tax. I feel like it's more in line with the American naming and the Canadian naming, which is great. It makes sense to name them similarly. So we can look, when we sit there and we look at the American product and we speculate on our monthly episodes, what's coming to the UK. If there's naming features in a similar nature, it helps us understand that's what that is over there. Now we can actually go and have a look at that and go, oh, that's interesting. These elements could come to the UK under that banner. That would work nicely. So yeah, it's Pro Tax. I like it.
I always thought it was a slightly clunky name, so I think Pro Tax is great.
It said what it did on the tin.
Yeah.
Like, it was from books to tax.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
It was direct marketing. Whereas Pro Tax, yeah, I think Pro Tax also kind of highlights their thoughts behind what this feature can be in the future. Like, it's called Pro Tax. It's not tax. It's not books to tax. It's Pro Tax. That implies it's for us, not our clients.
It's not for the clients. It's not going to be in the product for end users.
They're almost guaranteeing it in the name. That is ring fence for us, which has been a lot of people's concerns. But also, it's elusive enough for them to go, we're going to throw this in under that banner. We're going to do this feature under that banner.
The one thing I would say that I like that Nick Williams had to say, and this is the first time I've been on. You've been on the road with them. You've been doing the whole rock and roll tour. I'm just turned up for the one gig, but one of the things that Nick was talking about today was that when Pro Tax goes live, it's starting off dealing with micro entity accounts. It's not waiting until the product does absolutely everything. I think they've got the right way of doing it. Deal with the micro entities. They're the simplest ones to do. Get that right. Get the feedback from users like us and everybody out there watching this podcast. Get the feedback, develop it, tweak it, and then it's ready for small company accounts and all the other things that flow from there. So I'm greatly looking forward to that.
A great segue there, because the next bit is feedback. So they've explained that background changes the speed of QB. That's what their announcement was. We got great to see.
It's going to be a continuous thing that they're always going to be working on. But I'm starting to see notices.
Whole new platform. Yeah, which is good to see. Faster CIS return submissions. Okay, that's what we want to see. Easier bank connection with app to app. That's great for our clients, right? Extended VAT detail, including the option for when the date is. Multi-currency feature in Go Cardless. And bug fixes in work papers. What do you think of that for a nice little, almost like a biannual update, right? We had that huge updates in QuickBooks Connect. Now we've got these smaller updates. That's what we want to see, right?
Oh, very much so. I think it's great. Look, a company like Intuit is always going to keep working, keep developing, keep improving, and they are doing so, and this has proven it. I know I don't deal with anybody in the building industry, so CIS doesn't impact me, but I know for a lot of people out there that's hugely important, and the developments there, I'm sure, will be hugely, hugely welcomed. One of the things I did actually like, and I think I can't remember if they've been doing it for a while or this is very new, but the ability for the clients to link the bank feed in QuickBooks through the app on the phone. It sounds like nothing, but actually it's huge, because the amount of time I spend with clients, and I have done over many years, where I'm sitting on the phone, sometimes on a Zoom call, with maybe the CEO of the client, because he or she are the only people who have access to their bank account, and I'm explaining to them how to link this, how to link that. Doing it app to app, so that you click the link in the QuickBooks app on your phone, it automatically opens up your banking app on your phone. It's a much, much smoother process. Yeah, it does seem like magic.
It's something the smaller software companies have taken advantage of for the last 12 months. But for a big company like QuickBooks, it takes time to get that up the priority ladder and into the development timetable and stuff. So to see that rolled out is fantastic. It's really good.
The other emphasis they've made on, what's your opinion? Practice management and bureau payroll, you can expect it. There's a big push for that, right? Yep. We've had our views on it. Okay, we can talk about that till the cows come home. Yeah, but it's good to see that push, and it needs that push for people to get used to it, and hopefully then give the feedback, right?
If you look at Glasgow, the most filled out room for the breakout sessions throughout any part of the day was the practice management tool session. Whether people are signing up to trials and buying it or not is a different matter. Whether it's fully there yet or not is a different matter. People are obviously interested. There's so much appetite, and if QuickBooks can nail that appetite and develop quick enough, they're onto a winner. Payroll Bureau, I am interested, and I am considering going and having a chat later today with the payroll team and just going, what's your pricing? Because I know what my pricing is. I know what my functionality is because I'm using something that's inspired a lot of Payroll Bureau development. So, yeah, I'm interested if they can do me a competitive price. Because if we look at whenever they power one of their features from another provider, as it were, a white label provider, they normally undercut that white label provider to be more attractive in pricing. So I would be silly not to ask the question.
Well, I would hope that I'm going to go to the payroll bureau payroll session later on to find out more. But I would imagine, I don't know, that because the payroll is already a chargeable service, as it should be. I mean, that absolutely should be an additional chargeable service. It's not a core bookkeeping service. I assume, therefore, that the bureau will just be provided as part of that. It'll just be a front end to that. I don't know, which is very different from practice management, which is a separate thing. And that there is no other means of charging it, so it needs to be charged for somehow. So yeah.
So that was what was announced at the event. There's a few things that wasn't talked about. So QuickBooks Advance, is it the fact there's nothing to talk about, or is this not the right venue for it? What's your thoughts?
Well, I've used QuickBooks Advance so far for just one client. It was actually the client that pushed me to do it because they wanted some different reports. In reality, I'm not sure they have yet got the huge benefits that they were expected. I've got some benefits because the thing that I quite liked, and I think is hugely powerful, is the fact that it links both in and out with Excel. So one of the huge features is that you set up a link to an Excel spreadsheet, you can write a report in Excel, and once you've written that report, then any updates in QuickBooks automatically update the Excel spreadsheet. I used this many years ago. I was working in a company many years ago where they used Sun Microsystems was the accounting software. It was much, much, much too complicated for the size of company I was in. But the tool that I absolutely loved, and I can't remember what it was called, but it was an add-on to Excel that sat on as an extra a toolbar in Excel that enabled me to write reports I had to click the report to refresh and go out for lunch, and when I came back from lunch an hour later, it might have updated. It was that slow. We're talking over 20 years ago. But having that as a much, much faster, and these days it is very much faster, that is a very, very useful feature of Advanced. Yeah.
I think QuickBooks Advanced has had a year. I think it would not be unfair to say that they've struggled to sell it. it's technically a new market for their software, because they're going into bigger businesses that the bigger businesses have always kind of gone, QuickBooks is too small for us, it's not powerful enough for us. So it takes time to penetrate that market. But then they're also gone into, they're going to accountants who are trying to then drum up the new businesses for themselves. So this all takes time. They've had a year pushing it. I think they're not retiring it at all, it's there, but I think they're changing focus to Payroll Bureau, Practice Management, Intuit Assist. I think they're changing focus to those because potentially the sales teams are going to have a better chance of pushing those products, while they maybe refocus in the marketing department on the messaging of Advanced, and maybe buy a bit more time for the tech team to advance that product further. So I think QuickBooks Advanced is still there. It is still their flagship product. But I think the focus, and rightly so, it's been there for 12 months. Right, let's try something a bit different now. Let's try pushing these new products that are coming out so that they get enough limelight, so they can test how successful they will be. And maybe from there, they'll also see an increase in QuickBooks Advanced.
Yeah. I mean, we've seen that there's features on the way to QuickBooks Advanced, so as soon as those features are available, I suppose that's the right time to talk about it, isn't it? It's people just need awareness of QuickBooks Advanced more, don't they? And that's the hardest bit.
I would also argue, if you need QuickBooks Advanced, you need Payroll Bureau. You need something that can handle more than 1 or 2 employees. And you need it to be efficient with the automation and stuff like that. So by pushing the Payroll Bureau out, does that then open conversations up? Because it's not just QuickBooks Advanced anymore. It's not just QuickBooks Payroll. We've got QuickBooks Payroll, which is really powerful, automated, etc. If you add that onto this really powerful, potentially very automated Payroll QuickBooks Advanced product, that's becoming quite an interesting suite of products there.
Great. Right, we are almost on time. So, last bit, I think we need to talk just how great this event's been organised. I mean, if you think about it, the marketing gets put out there, all these places come in. I'm so naive of how much work must be involved in getting this off the ground, right? We just turn up and it just looks like it's effortless, but it clearly isn't. But we've been able to see in the behind the scenes of how much work goes in. These events are not easy to put together, but it's just fantastic.
It's like herding cats. Like Ella, Misha, their team in marketing, the sales team that come over and invite all their clients, the tech team that come over and do all the demos, the liaising with their partners to bring them in, the coordination of all the sessions, and making sure those sessions are quality. Like, you can't deny all of these sessions are fantastic quality. That's going to take a lot of effort, and it's not cheap, as I referred to at the start. So it's great to see QuickBooks continuing that investment into our firm's development, and ultimately they're delivering that tagline of theirs of they are powering our prosperity so we can power our clients' prosperity.
And I mean, I guess it should also be stated that unlike some of their software competitors, they don't charge for this. So any pro advisor that wants to come along, I assume you have to be a pro advisor, I'm not quite sure. Oh, anyone, okay. So anyone who comes along, it's completely free. And you get coffees and teas, and just had some very nice little donuts. But very shortly there'll be lunch. And judging by past sessions, the lunches are very good. You guys, as I said earlier, have both been on tour. You've done Glasgow, and is that the only one you've done so far? Yeah. Glasgow, and you're going on tour around the country. This is the one and only for me. But yeah, I mean, I've been into it always. They when they put on an event, they know how to put on an event. When
you go into accounting and bookkeeping, you don't go into it thinking, you know what, I want to go on tour. Yeah. Like, you go into it for very different reasons. But for Intuit to give us this opportunity to go on tour, thank you, Intuit, because we are loving life right now. It's long days of travel up and down the country. But
and they took all the blue M&Ms out of your dressing room, didn't they?
They did, yes. Yeah, they knew I wanted a certain cotton content in my dressing gown. They were very attentive.
Yeah, the riders are very carefully worked out.
Yeah.
So rock and roll.
Swag. So we've got some fantastic white metal water bottles that are being handed out. The first 75 people to sign up to the events got a lovely lunchbox with a bamboo lid with Intuit emblazoned on it, a knife and fork set in it, really nice. And I'm really liking the fact that this swag is usable, reusable. Like, those water bottles will be used at time and time again. Those lunchboxes can be used time and time again. Like, you know, the socks. I mean, you're not getting socks this year, but I still wear the socks. Like, I've got the shoes, but like, it's not throwaway stuff. Yes, there's a pen and notepad, but
They seem recyclable though.
they're all recyclable, and I would argue they would get negative feedback if you didn't provide a pen and notepad, because people will forget to bring a pen and notepad and then complain they haven't managed to make notes on the sessions. So some things are staple, that you have to be providing them. But yeah, overall, what an event.
Here. And that's it. That is a quick and easy session from QuickBooks Labs on
location.
Yeah, on location, here on stage.
Labs on tour.
Lab.
We didn't mention this, did we? We are literally on the main stage of QuickBooks Lab.
Nick Williams stood just there.
He did. I'm going to cut that bit of carpet out, frame it. Nick was here.
So people have fields on it. We have where Nick stood. Going from there. As it says over there, this event's going to be full of innovation, learning, and reconnecting. And yeah, and it's an inspiring day, and they couldn't be any wrong, as Jan said. So thank you, everyone. Thank you for coming along, for having a little chat about it. If you have an opportunity to come to one of these events, then please do. They are absolutely brilliant. We can't emphasize that enough. You may be able to see us on this exact tour. Me and Jan will be on most of them. Jan, I'm not one of them, but yeah. Something about holidays more important or something. I don't know. But I will definitely be there and looking forward to it. And yeah, please do. Please come along, say hello to us, and yeah, we're looking forward to see you in one of the next episodes. So cheers, everyone. How's that?
Bye. Bye. Oh. Bye, and yeah, I echo everything you just said. Come along to one of these events.
Yeah, worth every moment out of the office. So yeah, get yourself along to them. If you've missed them this time, get booked in for next year when they launch them. The marketing team gave me a heads up that there's plenty coming next year. They're going to be having these pretty much throughout the year, from my understanding, rather than all just combined into autumn, which is brilliant. Like, timings will work better for different locations. I'm looking forward to that.
And there's some more innovations coming that we've heard about as well. So there's a tease for you. Keep up to date, and you're already in the right place. Make sure you subscribe, make sure you like, and all that sort of jazz. And we're going to roll that silly little intro or outro.
Outro.
Bye.
As an accountant, I've got something to say. I'd like to introduce you to a whole new way to help small business clients. It's easy as 1, 2, 3, 4. QuickBooks Online. Accounting you can customize. Just sit back and relax. It works with over 300 apps. It can sync up with
Client Engager,
PayPal or
NetTracker,
Shopify, and with
Gold Cardless, get paid easily. Cresco,
you'll get paid instantly.
Swoop,
Labs tracks your
funding options.
QuickBooks Online. QuickBooks Online can save money and time.
QuickBooks Labs.